Hello, hello, and welcome to the Spiritual Reality Show. And welcome, Janet. It's lovely to see you.
Hi, Vivica. It is wonderful to be here again. And we're in that coming into the holiday season now. In the United States, we have Thanksgiving coming up next week. So you've got that tingle in the air. It's next Thursday. It's always on a Thursday. It's usually the last one of November. So it's a great family get together and, family, friends, whichever way you go. And it's always lots of food and it's so much fun. So that's exciting that that's coming up. I mean, it's interesting to look around my neighborhood though. So many people have, you know, put up their Christmas lights already.
Really? Okay. I was
Yeah, and
actually
it's like,
thinking of
what's
doing
the
that.
rush?
Yeah.
Just I love Thanksgiving so much that I can't do that. I always wait for the lights to go on after. I even wait. Some people do it the day after Thanksgiving. That's sort of tradition for a lot of people. Or one of my friends said she put all her bulbs on her outside trees, to light up the outside trees, but she's not going to light them up until after Thanksgiving, the day after. And she said her neighbors saw her do it, and so because it was a warm day, everybody else went and did the same thing. So they're all ready to put on their Christmas lights. So, it's a nice time of year because we're getting into some joy. Whatever's been going on in our lives kind of falls away. What do you do in Norway? What is
Well,
your
November is pretty quiet, I would say. I
yeah.
guess the only thing that we hear about that we have adopted from the States is Black Friday. Started a couple of years.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, so people are going
of course.
crazy in the stores or now online, of course. But Christmas time is a really beautiful time here in Norway. At least that's how I feel. We get snow, it's dark outside, and
Mhm.
the purity of the snow, it always reminds me of Mother Earth resting, and it kind of reflects, symbolizes that take it slow, rest, and enjoy that purity of the white
Mm.
snow and just embracing and being with family and friends and just having fun, joy, as you said, in the snow. And then you have, of course, the holidays where you have that magical feeling of people coming together and people being in gratitude, slowing down, and yeah, it's a very beautiful time of the year. And I will also
Mhm.
say that it's a very precious time energy wise, especially for me. I really connect with the angels. And during December, I am very focused. And usually it's not something, a conscious choice, it's just the receiving of that energy and so many people embracing that part of Christmas that it really lifts the spirit and it makes everything so much stronger. So it sort of comes to life, that energy, that angelic energy, if you wish. So I really personally enjoy that spirit of Christmas.
Yes, and see, that's how Thanksgiving starts in our country, in the US, because it's all about gratitude. Thanksgiving is being grateful and thanking everybody in the universe, all the beings around you, the people in your life. And when I have people at my table or wherever we are, we always say, the thank you prayer. And then sometimes we'll just say, what are we grateful for with the people that we know that are at the table with us? So it's a beautiful start to the holiday season here. And to me, I love that season, sometimes almost more than Christmas, because Christmas is so wild and crazy and there's so much to do. And I do like that part, but I like the quieter, just relax with friends and family, eating, there's nothing else to think about except being with each other and that precious time with family and friends. So that's like just that's all there is. Yeah, it's just good food and lots of good stuff and
Yeah.
fun and friends.
And I think a lot when you're speaking about, people running around, the Christmas vibe of shopping, there's a lot of things to do. I think also that's a choice that we make. And I've been
Well,
very good at
sure.
separating that part, and I've redefined how I want my Christmases to be like. I want to embrace, like you said, the gratitude, the high vibrational, the energy of coming together, the joyfulness. So I kind of choose and pick what really resonates with who I am. So, and I think that's important when our discussion is that we want to talk a little bit about how we can reawaken our soul sovereignty, right? And so, this is part of that, how I choose to take,
Exactly.
and kind of use my energy and how I want to show up in this period. And it's a choice that I make. And I want to be able to show my children and be a good example of redefining maybe how society has kind of pushed us to be those running around, everything needs to be neat
Mhm.
and clean and all that, instead of just, come
Yep.
together. We come together and we watch Christmas movies. That's our thing. We come together and we watch Christmas
Oh,
movies,
yeah.
eat good food, and we play games like board games, not on the
Yes.
computer, like we do. And my
Oh,
children
I love
are now
board games.
17 and 16, but they're like, we have to do this and we have to watch the same movies every year. So it's kind of,
It's tradition. That's called
yeah,
tradition, and
yeah.
that's fun, and it's beautiful when your family does that, yeah. And see, my kids are out, they're all grown up, they have their own families, so, and we don't always see them at the holidays. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, because 'cause you're with other families, they have their other family now, so it's a different world. So I look at the, holidays in a different way. I do, I think you're right. I mean, it's not when your kids are still at home and they're young and all that, you really can enjoy Christmas in that fullness of the family. When you're they're all grown up and on their own, it's a different way of looking at the family. And I think that with everything we've been through the past few years, you look at the world differently anyway. I think that has totally shifted our gratitude, our thankfulness, because we're just lucky to be here,
Yeah.
many of us. So, you know, to be honest, that's the number one thing. We're just lucky to be here. So, but yes, soul sovereignty. So when you say sovereignty, what do you mean by the word sovereignty? Let's
For
see what the
me,
people.
it's the
What do you think that means?
uniqueness of who your essence, the who you truly are, and to embrace
Hmm.
that purity, your sovereignty, that your all your gifts, everything that you embody or encapsulate within the spirit of your beingness.
Uh
I
huh.
don't know if that's the right word in English, but the thing is, it's the to me, it's really connected to being authentic, transparency, and purity. So those three are my key words when it comes to sovereignty. What about you, Janet?
Well, it means I think I always feel like being authentic and then real, being in your reality, the reality of you can create your own reality. This is part of sovereignty now. We're learning how much a creator we are. We're creator beings, which I think a lot of people don't realize that or even embrace that. So I am, it's this year has been such like a retreat year for me. I mean, we've done this show, which has been absolutely beautiful and I love it. And but then I've been taking a lot of time to work on myself because I really needed to, because there were things I knew were still dogging me and I needed to clear them. So, looking at my reality that I had created, do I like it? Well, there were some parts I didn't, but it was definitely getting better. And also to see some of the things I've come through. Like I really I kind of took an inventory of myself last weekend. It was great. And I was a little shocked too, because I sat and I meditated and then I did some like writing, and I decided I'd write my fears and my wins. Like, what did I get from this? Well, I'll tell you the truth. It was a little surprise. I had 4 pages of fear.
Wow. Isn't
I
that
know. That
amazing in
was
its
a
own
shock.
way?
It is. I was like, seriously, 4 pages, and it was every little thing. It was like fear of not knowing how to take care of myself. Like just like as you get older, and there's so many things in the way. I'm doing things all the time. I'm constantly taking care of myself, my health, because I've always done that my whole life. But there's so many impediments coming in the way sometimes that blocks this, blocks that. We have to be so much in our power and doing what we feel is right, and we have to go to our heart. It's really caused us to move so firmly into our sovereignty, like you said. And so that's one of my fears. And working through those, I realized I've worked through it a lot because I've totally, you know looked outside the box, done lots of things to help me get through different things that I've been through. I had COVID like everyone else probably did. I mean, I don't think anyone in the world has gotten away without it yet. If you have, you're a lucky person, and thank God bless you. And continue to be grateful. And fear of just not being loved. I mean, seriously, how many of us fear that we're not being loved? We always that's like the core thing. It's like our connection to source
Mm,
that we never always acknowledge. Like if you belong to a religious group, then that's your connection to source.
mm.
And if you're not belonging, like we're spiritual, so we're kind of doing it through our own hearts, our own way. And so you want to know that that connection is there, and it is there, it's always there, but to believe it and to trust it and to live in it is really powerful. And so I've been moving into it more and more because it's all about trust and different things. So
I
what
want to
else have
say
I got?
something in regards to that,
Yeah.
because when it comes to soul sovereignty for me, you are now making that or painting a picture of what I mean, because you're taking your energy and your energy, soul health seriously,
Hmm.
and you're looking into that and you're being honest. You're surrendering to your darkest beings. You're just releasing and surrendering and allow
Hmm.
that light to come forward, and that is taking responsibility for your soul health. And not only that, in that process you are purifying yourself from all lower vibrations. You're releasing, and your vibration is rising, and within that you feel that connection to your soul sovereignty again. You start feeling more you again, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, right? Like when we,
Oh, so
as
true.
children, we were so joyful. We spoke about it, playing in the snow. When I'm really free, I I feel that I'm just home. I'm home in myself. I do
Mhm.
not worry
Exactly.
about anything. And you need to take care of your soul health as well as your physical and mental and emotional health, of course.
Well, absolutely. And, those are words from a dear friend of ours, Laura Van Tyne. She always talks about soul health. And to me, that is such a key thing. And that's what I've been working on this whole year is my soul health. I never knew what word to put to it, but she put those words on. And I'm like, oh, that's what I've
You
been doing, working on my soul health. So thank you for bringing those words up again, because you're right. It's exactly that, the soul health. And, I've been feeling so much better now this end of the year because I've done so much work, so much clearing. And when you write down your fear and you look at it, you're going, oh my goodness. Some of it, like I say, it looks silly, but yet they're real because you have it in you to a point. And then you look at it and you go, well, does it really charge me like it used to? Like I question that. And it's like, not really. It's not the same. So it's like those used to be, they're kind of like the old fears that are flowing away. And it's so nice to see because with all these eclipses we've been through, there's a huge window right now of clearing all this. It's so important right now to clear during these. And even I know Elizabeth Peru, who I listen to, also she says the next 7 days the window is still open from the eclipse to clear any old beliefs and things that you have that are in your way and step into becoming a new way of being. And so I've really been looking at how I'm shifting the way I think of things or react to things. Like if I react in a new way, I'm noticing like, oh, that was not the way you normally would have reacted. And that's been refreshing. So I've seen the baby steps start coming forward with everything that I've, worked to shift out of my life that doesn't help me at all anyway. What about you? What have you seen in yourself?
This year has been amazing when it comes to looking at your shadow parts. I mean, I think I've met my worst fear, and I've talked about it here on the show. You know what happened when I was hacked on Facebook and all the dark
Yeah.
attacks that came in the physical space. And we actually had to have assistance from our mutual friend, Laura Fantine. And
And thank you for having somebody like that in our in our friend in our group.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, and everybody she's available to everybody, but, we're blessed because she took the time to do that work to be able to do what she's doing for everybody.
Yes,
So, yeah, go ahead.
definitely. And so moving through that, like I said, I've been in the process. So I've reawakened to my soul sovereignty within a new vibration. So remember, we're
Mhm.
ascending, energy shifting. So I've decided to ride the wave and not on the top. I want to surf. I want to be on the top. I do not want to be down in those, I don't know what you
When the
call
waves
them.
are crashing, when
Yeah.
the waves
I
are
don't want to be
crashing,
on top. I want to be surfing USA, if you know what I'm
you
saying.
wanna be in the high. Yes, yes.
And I've been on, down and up, but I've been so standing in my soul sovereignty. Listen to this. You can be and experience difficult hardship, um, traumatic things, and still be in your soul sovereignty
Oh,
because you
yeah.
have that faith. And I want to give that to people who might feel like they're losing themselves when things are happening. To me, the order that I channeled, Zara's in the Order of Seven, told me once that when you're low or you're sick or you're traumatized or you're down in the vibration, you're closer to shining your light because you're
Mhm.
surrendering. You're so deep into it that you're about to surrender, and the energy in that moment when you acknowledge and say that this is my reality, I choose to move through it. This too shall pass. I love what Eckhart Tolle says. I mean, this too shall pass. That's the reminder when it's blowing, you know storm, and it's
Yep.
just allowing yourself to be on that wave and journey on it, and always remind yourself, going inside, not
Mhm.
focusing on the external world, but going inside. That really saved my, or allowed me to be in my soul sovereignty, that I took the time and prioritized being kind to myself, being in stillness, in
Mhm.
meditation, going for walks, keeping my physical body in motion. I did all the things I knew and I've experienced throughout, reawakening and shifting as a human being. And that really allowed me to be where I am today, where I'm so clear and all my visions are back. Because the first thing I notice when I'm not in the flow of things, that's my visions being disturbed. They disappear. So I'm used to seeing what's going to unfold. And when I start
Mhm.
blocking that, it's not that I'm blocking it, but my perception, I need to use all my energy in, I'm going to use soul health again because I love that
Yeah,
terminology,
I love it.
to
I love
take
it.
care of myself and my
Mhm.
health. That's when I notice that it doesn't matter, that whatever comes, this too shall pass. Whatever comes, I trust the universe. I trust the universe. I trust the guidance of spirit. That's the only thing that, I tell myself. And that's how I've
Mhm.
moved through this in my soul sovereignty. And as soon as things shift, I am so clear on, that's a sign from the universe. That is me moving through it. That's another vibrational shift because you're so in tune with everything, with your own spirit, with your soul, with your vibration, and you know yourself throughout the four bodies, right? So it's just,
Yeah.
it's really beautiful actually in the back end of all the trauma to come
Uh-huh.
forward and see,
Yeah.
I understand. And the teachings or the learnings come so quick when you're in your soul sovereignty because you are so clear when you moved it, and your visions come back. You go, okay, I get it. I needed to learn that, that, and that. So I see it now. It's
Yeah, and I
clearly.
think it's yes. I agree so much because I feel like the stillness of this year has allowed me, and I've had a lot of stillness. I've made sure. I mean, I've enforced my own stillness because I needed to do what I needed to do to clear things. And I've had so many aha moments and so many insights and so much healing. It's been, I mean, just huge. And I knew I needed it. It's like you have to, like you said, surrender to the fact that you need this. You need you if you really want to take care of yourself, you have to pull yourself out of the chaos. And like you say, when you're in the middle of the storm, stand in the eye, be in the eye, which is the quiet zone, and look around you and stop and go into yourself and go, okay, this is not the reality I want to create for my life.
Mm.
And I'm going to stop now and then just be quiet and talk to the universe and ask what is it that I'm not seeing? What is it that I need to know? You know, these are the questions we have to ask, and we have to ask for it. If we don't ask, we're not going to get the answer. I mean, you can say prayers and ask for prayers and all that. That's okay too, but you really need to ask, like, what is it I'm not getting? Give me some ideas, you know, and just open yourself to it. So I had a lot of that coming in. And I had, it was like, you know, hits in, upside the head, like, wake up, Janet. This is something you never saw. And you're not ready till you're ready to see it, you know? And I allowed the time to be ready.
I'm
And it took a
so
long
glad you
time.
said that. Thank you for saying that. You'll see it when you're ready. I think too many people just, oh, I need this. I need to be clear. I need to move on. I need to move past this. And they're not just trying to, what do you say, call it? You block the emotions. You just move forward. You just try to forget.
Yeah. Can't,
And it
can't.
will always come back and haunt you unless you do what you did. It is beautiful and
Yeah.
such an important lesson.
Yeah, you know, I've heard people say, "Oh, I'd rather not talk about it or I'd rather not think about it." And I'm like, that's going to come up and still haunt you because it always does. So
Yep.
you've got to get into it and feel the dirty and the nasty and whatever it is you got to feel, and even your own shame, and let it go, because maybe it's not even yours. The other part is some of this stuff we're carrying for our ancestors. You know, a lot of I know on my ancestral line, I've carried 25 generations of shame in my family. And
Mm.
this is, I'm the one who's meant to clear it, and I'm clearing it. I know I am, because things are shifting, you know, in my family surroundings. It's more and more, you know, it's slow, but it's happening. And my own personal shift has been amazing. I mean, I'm starting to feel better and better, and I can't say I'm crystal clear yet. I can't give it that one yet, but I know I'm open to waiting for when it's right for me to get that information. So it's really interesting. And, you know, we both have, you get it in different ways. You've gotten your crystal clarity already. I can't say all mine's crystal yet. I just know I need to keep doing what I'm doing. It's not quite over yet for me. And it won't ever be completely over for any of us to keep
No,
clearing and working. But
I would
this
I would say
window,
that. I would second that because now I'm clear, but as
yeah,
we live life as human beings, things come up, things happen. And I know,
yes.
knowing myself and my soul sovereignty, I know when I lose the visions or they become blurry, that I know something is shifting within me I have to deal with. And so I shift
Mhm.
my perception of, I do not focus anymore. Like before, I would maybe freak out and go, oh, what, I can't see clearly, and start questioning if what I've been seeing prior is the truth, right? So you start questioning your
Well, it was,
sovereignty. And so I stop myself because now I've done this so many times. I mean, hello, we've been on this journey for quite a bit. And now I can stop myself and just, oh, it's not time for that now, like you did. It's time for me
mm.
to rest. It's time for me to go inside. It's time for me to take care of my soul health. So I just think
And
that's
you know,
beautiful. Yeah.
absolutely, you know, and that's why I did that writing, because what was true for us even 6 months ago is not true for us now, because we've shifted again. We're constantly shifting with this influx of energy coming in, this huge amount of light coming in. You know, all this, the eclipses that are huge this year for us. It's a big cleansing for us all. And so I was listening to Carrie Cassidy, who I don't know how many people like her, but I think she's pretty awesome. And she said some very cool sentences today. And this is so true. And I have to give her the credit on it. She said, "We are what we think we are." Well, isn't that the truth? That is the reality we create. So when we think we are something, if we think we're shy, or we think we're not making enough money, or we think we're not able to do things, we're going to get that because the universe wants to please us. It wants us to be happy. So if that's what you're telling you want the universe to give you, that's what you're going to get. So we have to shift that old way of thinking and go, no, 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 no. I was thinking wrong, because now we know we're creators and we're creating our reality. So now I'm going to go, yeah, I'm very abundant. I'm healthy. I'm very full of joy. The friends I have around me, the people around me are the best people that I could be with to help me move into my highest self and who the higher self I meant to be, and all that kind of thing. These are the things we have to manifest. I mean, it's manifesting. So anything we imagine, she said, we are, which is similar to what she just said, but we can imagine so many things, and we are. And then whatever we think we can manifest, we will. So if you think you can't make money, then you don't make money, and if you think you will make money, you will. So
And
then
if
if
you
you just put
think
out to your,
you will never get through something difficult, then you won't.
yes, correct. And so giving it that open, just don't even judge it. Get away from the judgment and allow the moment to just be open. Be like in the neutral, be in neutral. Sort of just allow things to unfold and allow things to happen. And the biggest secret of all is who we are. We are essences of God. We are source essence. We are those souls. We will drop these little meat suits, and then we're going to still be that soul essence. And everything we've learned in this life we take with us. Because what if you're like, I think she said this one, if you're an a-hole in this life, then you're an a-hole in the other when you pass over.
Yeah.
And so
I've met some of them.
so
I've
every,
like cleared some spaces and before, so I know.
and I just cracked up because that is so true. We think we're going to turn into this angelic being. Well, no, we're not. This is the school. We're learning here, and then we move up and to shift back into our soul essence. We are still growing and expanding as a soul. We still are. It doesn't end. That's why when people think this life is the end, it's not the end. And it's taken me forever to understand and accept that. But we move into a soul who's continually expanding, because that soul will never die. That soul is forever. That
I don't
soul
know
is
how
created
many
by
times I've
soul.
heard my clients say, "Well, I know I'm not coming back after this." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay,
But you can
speaking
choose to
from an
go
ego
somewhere
point of
else.
view, like
Yeah. Well, you can choose
if
to go
you're
somewhere else, but
be honest, if I've done a lot of life between lives hypnotherapy sessions, and when people are in that soul state, they are so in tune with the understanding of the soul's expansion and their
mhm,
ability to not only learn but to serve through their wisdom that they've gained
mhm.
through lifetimes,
Yeah,
and wanting
yeah.
to go back to earth to contribute to
Mhm.
part of that unity again. And so it really took some people by surprise, because prior to doing a session they said, well, I don't want to go back, this sucks. This life is like
Yeah.
horrible, I don't want to go back. If this is being
That's
human,
true. It's
the
not always fun. Yes.
but
I
then when
had
they
that. I
connect,
had a,
then you see what the soul means, right? And the soul purpose and the soul's calling. And you understand that there's so much more to this experience than your experience as a human, right?
oh,
So,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
I think everyone
So
going,
here's
yeah,
another quote that Carrie said, the limitless the limits that we have put on us, we have accepted. So
that's
the
true.
limits we have put on ourselves, we have accepted. And I'm like, whoa, that is so profound, because we are the decision makers of our choices. We make the choice. People are like, oh, I don't have a choice. I never knew how much choice we had till I got into spiritual work. And then I realized It's all about choice. It's all about choice. We are sovereign beings. So when you turn into that sovereign, when you realize all that, like we're talking about, we can shift that. So if you believe, like it's still back to, they're all similar to what we said, but it's the limits that we put on ourselves. We have accepted then. You can change that. You can change that right away.
So I've always
Isn't
looked at myself as a free spirit, and people have already said that to me, that you're so free, you just do what you feel, you don't care about what other people think or say. And that's true to a point.
right. To a
But
point.
because I was always, yeah, to a point until I got children. That's when it changed.
Yeah.
So I've been a free spirit, and then you have responsibility, and you're
Mm-hmm.
being, I can take responsibility for my own actions, for who I am, what I do, what I think, what I believe, all that. But having children, it's a big responsibility. And having them go into society, and you with the you're seeing everything, you have a clear vision of what's going on, and you're having, because you don't feel like you have a choice, to put the
Uh-huh.
girls in
Uh-huh.
school, you have to do this, you have to do that, because if you don't, you get a knock on the door and the police is there, or the what
Yep.
do you call it in English, I don't know, like people from the,
Homeland Security.
yeah, or something like that. That come No, that comes to take your children if you don't, send them to school. Like, you can get put in jail. I mean, and your children can be taken
Yep.
from you. So it's like, you don't feel like you have a choice, but of course everyone has a choice.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I
Yes.
don't, what is it
You're
called?
talking
Social
about like
services
these
or,
agencies. Yeah, they're called children's services, like social services.
okay.
Social services here. I mean, if someone complains about children being neglected, I mean, that's something that they would go and investigate, you know? And you've got to like, but if you ever do that, you've got to give your name. They can't just take like a bogus, well, I mean, maybe they can. I don't know what it's like anymore, but um, but the way the world is, they're telling us different things that we don't even have a choice as a parent.
Yeah.
So that has to change because that is not the way we live. This is not the way we have chosen to be as parents and as sovereign beings.
Mm.
Our children are ours. They came through us, but then once they grow up, they're not ours. We don't own these
Yeah.
souls, but we have responsibility, as you said, towards them when they're in a certain age. Once they're past that, they are, they have to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
So we let it go as much as we can, even though you're never not a parent once you're a parent. Right.
Another thing that I want to share, Janet, is because being a free spirit, I always look at myself as being soul having a human experience. I've always had that. And I think why I've always had that perception, it's not something I've learned. I've always had it. Because I've had Zarius and the Order of Seven with me for so long. But when I feel, especially this, because people say, well, you always, when I am put in situations, if it's at work, if I work for somebody else, if somebody has something they want me to do and it does not resonate, or uh, I feel like I'm being imprisoned somehow by other people's
Yes.
thoughts and
Yeah.
emotions, whatever, I react. I get a really big, what do you call it, ball of fire in my sacral. So I can
Okay.
feel, I know that, okay, 1 second, something is happening. And I can feel the anger because I react very quickly. I can feel that it's anger. Because it's so strong that, okay, I have to take a breath, and I have to say, give me a moment, and I have to take myself out of
Mm.
the situation. Now I'm quicker to revisit and say, okay, so now I'm feeling that this person is trying to take away my free will, and that
Yes.
doesn't sit well with me. So I need to clarify, and I have to put up boundaries, and then I can be myself again, like soul sovereignty.
Yes.
So I react
Yes.
immediately on that energy, that vibration. I've taught myself through all these lessons
Mm-hmm.
through the years
Yep.
that this is
Yep.
what's going on. Somebody is trying to, or some energy is trying to be trap me in something that's not soul sovereignty to me.
That's perfect because I agree with you. I would say I'm pretty much a free spirit myself, and I've always been the out of the box thinker, the not part of the cool group. I was always the different one. I mean, I was, never really one to follow the crowd ever. I mean, I just didn't want to. I don't believe in it. I don't know. It never felt right to me. I wanted to be part of the crowd, but I couldn't follow them. It's like, well, I want to be part of it, but I don't really want to be that kind of person. I don't want to do what they're doing. That doesn't really fill my heart with joy. It's boring to me. It's not my thing. It's like, even though I want to be with these people, it's not calling my soul. It's just not filling me up. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I'd have to make another choice. And it was hard. It's hard to be that person like you are. And me, I think we have that in similarities, to be that person, not to follow everything that everybody does. So here's another quote by Carrie, which follows perfectly with what we're saying. I couldn't have made this script up. Humans are taught to be so, well, she says, I say dumbed down. We're taught to be so dumbed down. So do you want to get out of the matrix? Question everything, which
Yes.
is what we do, which is what we're saying when we're looking at, beliefs and following other people. We don't just jump, and your gut's telling you don't do it. Wait, think about it. Mine's telling me, wait a minute. I used to be very quick to say, sure, I'll do it. No, I don't do any of that anymore. I have learned to say no. No is
Yeah.
a complete sentence.
Yes. And the thing is, I feel like I've even taken a step further now because I always have an intention. Like I taught my groups, I always have an intention for what I do. So if you question and you wonder, ask me because I can answer
Yeah,
you. I don't do anything unintentionally. Everything I do is
that's
intentional.
beautiful.
And
Well,
so
that makes sense
any
to me.
questions
Yes,
towards me, I have no problem answering. So I
I
can be
love that.
secure
I
in
love
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I've come into that more now. I do have I know what my intentions are. So I think that's part of the clarity that you get
Yes.
when you start clearing yourself and you don't choose to follow all the crowd. You have to step back and go, all right, what is my intention for this? Why am I not willing to do what those other people are doing? And then I have to look at myself and go, well, it's not my soul fulfillment. It's not the path I'm choosing. My path is my spiritual path, which is to move into the ascension energy and to, shift all the consciousness into the higher realm. So we live in this beautiful new world that we create. But we have a lot to do to do be part of that. We can't just say the words. You've got to, like I heard someone say, take the action. We have to take the action to do that as well. So yes, that's
It is
perfect.
soul energy in motion. And the motion part comes by taking action. You're not in motion unless you're moving your physical body through action. That's
Absolutely. You can say anything you want, but until you take the action, you're really not doing the work. You can't just say the words. You can't mouth
and
it and
you
be a
won't
talking head.
create what
Remember
your
those
heart
old
and
words?
soul desire.
Remember the word talking heads? That was a great word a few years back. You could be a talking head and mean nothing. It's like being a robot. It's not you're not living in your heart. You're not following your soul's calling, which is why we're here. We're here to
Like when
follow our
I
soul's
the
calling.
thing I said, I remember one of the first, the clients that I had, I remember it was a politician, and I was working
Uh-huh.
with him, and I said, "Well, listen, I can hear what you're saying, but I see what you're doing." And he does not resonate. And he was shocked by that because he was so used to using his words and getting people caught
Oh
up in
yeah.
his words. And I said, well, I don't believe you because I see what you're doing. So don't even try that. Don't try that with me.
This
All the fancy
this
words.
is
I see what you're
and
doing.
this is the question everything. This is the question everything now. Look at what people are saying, but what are their actions? Do those actions follow the words that they say? Then you know they're in integrity. If they're following their heart, if they're not doing what they say, then they're out of integrity. They're not in their soul sovereignty. Those are perfect words. That's
Yeah.
perfect example of what
Yeah.
that is all about, you
So
know. And when I wrote those,
let's end this session with pulling a
yeah,
card
yeah,
because I really want to see
yeah,
what you pull today.
yes. So I just wanted to say one last thing. The 4 pages of fear I had written, it showed me how much the Matrix had control to a point, like the Matrix being just, society control, mass, peer control, peer pressure, all that kind of stuff. And I'm able to put words to it now and know that those weren't for me. I've outgrown so much of it, which was such a freeing moment. So I just wanted to end with that one.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yay! That's
and for you
celebration
too. And
time.
I know, yes, and I know for you too. Same thing. So I did pick one when we started, and it is water spirit. And water spirit, and I know it's a little
Yep, there you
weird
go.
today. It's hard to say. Water spirit, yes. Water spirit is all about sacredness, flow, and grace.
Mm.
So it talks about in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. That was from Genesis 1, verses 1 and 2. So the water spirit is the heart of creation.
Mhm.
In most indigenous cultures, water was regarded as sacred and treated with reverence. It's no coincidence that the earth and the human body have the same percentage of water. We are intrinsically linked. When we know the importance of this element in ourselves and our lives, we have a natural understanding and respect for the preciousness of water. We all have a natural sense of well being when swimming in the ocean or walking along the beach or under a waterfall. The water energy in these environments brings us back into balance. The only time water isn't healthy is when it's not allowed to circulate and it becomes stagnant. Water needs to flow. Water spirit is the energy of flowing gracefully. Water is powerful and will carve through rock over time, but bending and flowing around the shape of whatever it comes up against is its particular strength. So when we can flow like water, look at how strong we really are. Embodying water spirit means being fluid like this, not in resistance to things, but flowing with, through, and around them. In its softness, water always finds a way. So water spirit's message is to interact in your current situation and surroundings with the softness and fluidity of water. Just be natural like water and circulate and flow. You are gracefully being led to the places and people you resonate with. And this doesn't take any effort or trying on your part. You are always being carried to where and with whom you naturally belong. Another message of water spirit is to allow all of your feelings and emotion to be felt and not be resisted or judged in any way. Just allow them to flow in order for inner balance to be restored. We know the Creator can bless us with answers through water. That element can help us with understanding. The more we honor and feel gratitude toward water, the greater the assistance we will receive from it in our lives. And that was from Grandmother Mona Polaka. She's one of the indigenous grandmothers.
I love
Isn't
that.
that beautiful?
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a perfect ending to this
Yeah.
session we had today with
Yes.
sovereignty. So, well, we had a great conversation. So, all I can say is one thing, please, before you leave, hit that like button and please subscribe to this channel, the Spiritual Reality Show. We really, really appreciate your support. And enjoy your holidays. And if you're in the US coming up next week, happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving
And
from Europe as well.
yes, and it's a beautiful time to be grateful. It brings us to earth and keeps us, it gets us back to our core. This is what we need to just get to that core and be in that eye of the storm. Whatever's flowing around you, get into the stillness.
Yeah. And remember
So,
to bring the joy.
oh, I like that. Bring the joy. Excellent. All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Vivica.
Thank you, Janet. Love you. And have a good
Love you
evening,
too.
everyone, or day, wherever you
Bye
are in
bye.
the world.
We're in the